welcome back to my channel. My name is Charlie Starr and I'm an astrologer and tarot reader. In this video, we're going to be talking about the astrological weather for the month of November 2022. So sit tight, grab yourself a cup of hot, spicy tea, and let's get right into it. Okay, so what can we expect in November? November is going to be a very sexual month. Honestly, the big star of the show is Venus going through Scorpio, illuminated by the sun the entire time. You can kind of see that they're like hand in hand. Also, Mercury is right there as well. Venus is going to be making some sextiles to the planet Pluto, which is the ruler of Scorpio. And it's just, it kind of puts Venus in Scorpio as like the central theme for the entire month. Towards the end of the month, both Venus and the sun will go into Sagittarius. So we'll start to have some Sagittarius energy, and there will be a new moon in Sagittarius that is well aspected to Jupiter, which I'm excited for. So I do feel like we have some really good things to look forward to this month. We also have an eclipse on the 8th. So that's pretty exciting as well. That's going to be in the sign of Taurus, which is Venus's sign. So once again, Venus is huge this month, you guys. And what does the Venus in Scorpio energy really feel like? What you're really going to get is a very deep, sultry, powerful, sexual energy. Dark, secret, hidden, mysterious, powerful. This is a sign where we go away from the public eye and essentially go into our little butterfly cocoon and become something extraordinary. So this energy this month can be very seductive. It can be very powerful, very inspiring, very earthy, very deeply in touch with our own sexuality, our own creative powers. This is a powerful warrior goddess, creator of the earth energy. So this is what we're getting in touch with this month. What's going on for you on the inside, how you're processing your past trauma, your past memories, especially when it comes to people that you have loved deeply, deeply in the past. Scorpio is very, very deep. Scorpio is going to like the core center of who we are, and like the most deep, the most painful, the most true, the most emotional energies that we possibly have contained in our psyche. This is our subconscious. So there's a lot of opportunity for dreams here. Powerful dreams, memorable dreams, dreams that are speaking to you, dreams that are helping you process whatever it is that you're going through. Towards the end of the month, this is even further increased. The only difficulty towards the end of the month would be like remembering your dreams. So definitely I would say at the beginning of this month, start writing them down. Or when you write down your dreams, it tells your subconscious that you're paying attention, and then you have better dream recall moving forward. Because towards the end of the month, what's happening is we have Jupiter went right back into Pisces. Jupiter was in Aries for a good chunk of the year, and earlier this year was in Pisces. Jupiter started going retrograde and went back into the sign of Pisces towards the end of October, very end of October. So now Jupiter is in Pisces again, going retrograde, and will be in Pisces until December 20th of this year. So this energy of Jupiter being in Pisces is returning. At the end of this month, Jupiter goes into a conjunction with Neptune, which Jupiter did back on April 12th, I want to say, of this year. Went into an exact conjunction with Neptune. The conjunction this time isn't going to be exact, but it will be with a 6-degree orb, so it's going to be pretty close. So on the 15th, Mercury moves into Sagittarius. Then on the 17th, Venus moves into Sagittarius. And then on the 22nd, then the sun moves into Sagittarius. Then we have a new moon in Sagittarius. And from then on, the energy shift is really moving away from this whole Venus in Scorpio, sultry, dark, powerful, lusty energy into looking more towards the future and more towards expansion. And what's really, really big for the rest of this month is the topic of learning. Now, really quick, why do I say this? So this isn't just because Sagittarius is the sign of learning, but we have Mars in Gemini, which is also a sign of learning. We have aspects to Jupiter in his own sign, really well aspected to Sagittarius on this new moon. So for the rest of this month, the focus is on expanding ourselves through taking on new knowledge and new information. With Mars in retrograde, it's like we're going back over stuff that we kind of like lightly covered the last couple months, going back over those things and learning more about those things. There's a lot of like moving energy in the sky, even though halfway through the month, things are going to sort of pick up more. The first half of the month is going to feel more quiet, more internally focused. The second half of the month, they're going to feel a little bit more energetic. We're going to have more of the sense that we're moving forward in the things that we want to do. However, it can feel really scattered and it can feel like we're not making consistent, documentable progress on a goal. So that doesn't mean that we're not making that progress and we're not learning what we need to learn. I just want to warn you that it's not going to look organized. Okay, so if you have an expectation for your time and your energy to be well organized in this next month, you have another thing coming. So I would advise you guys to adjust your expectations to account for the fact that the energy that we're feeling right now is quite scattered, quite flexible. And I would encourage you to move with that flexibility. Otherwise, you're probably gonna end up getting whiplash. So let's get into what we can expect more specifically for each of the signs. Okay, Aries rising, what's going on for you this month? A big focus for you this month is going to be the topic of money, shared resources, your personal finances, and I would say learning and possibly travel. So towards the first part of the month, we do have an eclipse that's happening in Taurus, which is your second house of finances. So this can feel like a big ending, culmination, success point, when it comes to your personal finances, because you have Venus and the Sun in your 8th house of shared resources. This is most likely some type of change in your financial status due to a relationship or somebody who's significant to you. Moving on from that, we do have up until the 15th, we have Mercury, Venus, and the Sun in your 8th house in Scorpio. So there may be some major changes that are going on for you during this time of a personal nature. And then towards the end of the month, what's happening is you're coming out onto the other side of that and you're really interested in learning. So you may feel like you have a more clear direction in your mind of where it is that you want to go and what it is that you want to learn. And this could involve taking on new opportunities for learning. So this could include travel. There's a high likelihood that a lot of you guys will travel, learning about other countries, other cultures, going back to school, taking courses about information that you decided is important. Gathering information and learning a lot is going to be really important to you at this time. You do have Mars going through your 3rd house of Gemini, so learning kind of like surrounded by other people and learning through conversations with a variety of different people is also going to be like a big focus point for you towards the last half of this month. We do have a new moon in Sagittarius, so it's an excellent time to like start a new course, start a new, start like a Rosetta Stone. You're learning a new language. It's a good time to go traveling. This new moon is well aspected to Jupiter in Pisces. So there is a conjunction loosely happening towards the end of the month with Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, which occurred earlier this year. It was exact around April 12th. So whatever happened to you in April, I would say is kind of making a comeback, and there may be residual things related to that. Pisces is your 12th house, so this definitely has to do with dreams, your psychic intuition, and as well also your own personal mental health. So you may find yourself really prioritizing those things, and you may find that the veil becomes very, 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 very thin for you. Okay, Taurus, this month is focused on your 7th house, which has to do with significant relationships. So some of y'all have just started a new relationship. We just had a new moon at the end of last month in your 7th house, and Venus is going to be conjunct the sun all the way, essentially all the way like through this month. Up until like the midpoint of the month, there's going to be that conjunction loosely there. So at this time, the first half of the month, there's definitely going to be, like, whether you're single or in a relationship, there's going to be people that seem to have like a very powerful magnetic pull on you. Okay, so this can be people that are in pain, people that are hurting, people that have gone through some sort of trauma, but also people that are very like kind of secretive, mysterious, make you sort of work to get their trust, so to speak, so that it seems like during this month you were really wanting to be trustworthy, and you're really wanting other people to see you as that, and you're kind of really, really drawn to earning that trust from people this month. So that's something that I do see happening. If you are in a new relationship, then the second half of the month is definitely going to be about you sorting that out, because Venus and Mercury and the Sun all move into Sagittarius at the midpoint of the month. The 15th, the 17th, and the 22nd is going to be Mercury, Venus, and then the Sun. So all moving into Sagittarius, and then we have a new moon in Sagittarius. So this can be a very, very exciting point for you. So the energy kind of shifts about halfway through this month to where there is more of a focus on money. You do have Mars going through your 2nd house of finances right now, and the 8th house has to do with shared finances, inheritance money, tax relief, student loans. Some of you guys could end up with like student loan forgiveness happening to you around this time. So the shift really seems to move over to the financial sector, and this can feel really exciting, really invigorating for you guys. So I do anticipate a lot of opportunities for you guys to sort of like manifest changes when it comes to your financial status towards the end of this month. Okay, Gemini, so the beginning of this month, it looks like a lot of you last month started a new job, and possibly you are going to be working on that new job or focusing on that new area of service or that new sort of like habit that you have implemented for the first part of the month. So there is energy or attention, I should say, consciously devoted to this area of your life. However, it doesn't seem like that's necessarily what's on your mind. It seems like what's on your mind has a lot to do with relationships and also has a lot to do with endings. On the 8th of this month, we do have an eclipse happening in your 12th house in Taurus. So this is going to be a full culmination, a full major ending of some sort for you guys, potentially regarding somebody who you loved, or some service, or some like chapter of devotion that you guys have had. This also can be impacting your mental health and finishing up some chapter that pertains to what happens with your mental health and how you interact with yourself, how you speak to yourself, how you relate to yourself. And then moving on towards the second half of the month, you are going to be much more focused on happier things. You're going to feel more expansive. You're going to be more open towards travel, towards engaging with other people. There's a lot more opportunity for you to really do what you guys do best, like learning from other people, observing other people, bringing joy into other people's lives by being yourself. So the second half of that month, then we're moving into Sagittarius, which is your second house. So Mercury, which is symbolizing your mind, is moving into your 7th house, the first, which is on the 15th. And then on the 17th, you have Venus moving into Sagittarius. And then on the 22nd, you have the Sun moving into Sagittarius. So slowly, one by one, all of your energy is shifted over into this significant other or these other relationships that you may have with people of significance in your life. And like I said, it's going to feel much more stimulating, much less sad after whatever it is that you say goodbye to during the eclipse earlier. You are going to have a new moon in Sagittarius in your 8th house, in your 7th house. So this can feel like a new chapter is beginning with a person in your life. This could even be a new relationship that you have now sort of officially started. This does feel really, really good because this Jupiter is in Pisces, and Pisces is your 10th house. So you're well aspected to really, like, towards the end of the month, be free to be yourself. If you have wanted to go back to school at this time, which you may be feeling interested in because of all this Sagittarius, Gemini energy, and Jupiter being in your 10th house, a lot of you may be thinking like that you really want to go back to school or learn some new things. I would encourage you to learn on your own for now. Learning with like a group of people is going to be a little bit difficult until March of 2023 because Saturn has been transiting through your 9th house of like college, career, education, and that can be a little bit challenging. There may be some barriers to that until, like I said, March of 2023, but it's still a good time for you to sort of begin to learn some of the things that you're interested in on your own. And it can also be a really good time to be more extroverted and more comfortable and push yourself out there a little bit more because you'll have a pretty good response from people that's going to be very like inspiring. Okay, Cancer. So the first part of this month, you're definitely going to be focused on the 5th house, which the 5th house is the children, the creative center, the dating and sex life, and also just personal self-expression in general. So if you have a daughter, your daughter is definitely going to be front and center for the first part of this month. If you don't have a daughter, if you don't have children, your dating life may be, or it can also be both. Your dating life may also really be an area where there's a lot of focus, especially when it comes to sexuality and your sexuality and the sexuality of your partner or the people you're interested in. There's definitely a huge magnetism when it comes to your sex life. The first part of this month, there's a lot of like energy, attraction, pull towards devoting your time, energy, and emotion into this sector. You did just have a new moon in Scorpio towards the end of October, so you're kind of dealing with the fallout of that for the first part of the month. This definitely has a lot of like feminine energy with it. So regardless of whatever your gender identity is, I do strongly encourage you guys to get deeply in touch with your own sexual power during the first part of this month. On the 15th, Mercury, you do have a eclipse happening in Taurus, which is your 11th house on the 8th. So first of all, that's a major eclipse that's happening. And this is happening in your 11th house, which has to do with hopes, dreams, wishes, and also friendships and group associations. So there may be a major culmination, a major fulfillment of something that you've worked really hard to come to. This also can pertain to a celebration or ending or a finale with a group of people that you associate yourself with. So it does look very like a very positive eclipse for you. If this is aspecting your chart, I would say this is a good thing. And then we have on the 15th, Mercury moves into Sagittarius. And then on the 17th, Venus moves into Sagittarius. And then on the 22nd, the Sun moves into Sagittarius. And let's not forget that Jupiter has moved back into Pisces. So this month is very watery. I would say, even though there's all of these like beginnings and endings happening with the eclipses and the new moons, it doesn't necessarily feel like things are really picking up until halfway through the month. That's when more action really can take place. That's when things more look like they're going somewhere very clearly. I do caution you against feeling like it has to go in a linear fashion because there's a lot of energy in the air that's very scattered, very back and forth. Mars is in retrograde, Jupiter is in retrograde, Jupiter is the ruler, Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a mutable sign. So there's a lot of like, it can feel chaotic. You can feel maybe like you're getting pulled this way and that way, but at least there's more energy in the sky the last half of the month, and it is going somewhere productively. It's just going there on its own method. There's a method to the madness, so trust that. For you guys, the Sagittarius sign is your 6th house of work. So you may be starting a new line of work, or you may be focusing a lot more on work, or maybe starting a new project on work because there is a new moon in Sagittarius happening on the 23rd. It's well aspected to Jupiter in Pisces, which is in a conjunction with Neptune loosely at this time. So for you guys, let's see, that is your 9th house. So this can be a really good time to travel. So if you are wanting to travel, and that can be astral travel or that can be actual literal physical travel. Some of you guys are going to travel for work at this time. It's really well aspected in your chart and in the sky for you guys to travel for work. Okay, so there you go. Okay, Leo, so at the end of last month, we had a new moon in Scorpio, which is your 4th house. The 4th house has to do with the home, the family of origin, your past, and also your mother or whatever parent was the nurturing parent for you. So this part of your life is going to be the focus for the first 15 days of the month, possibly a little bit longer. This is incredibly important time for you to be thinking back on your past and thinking about how you want to take what you've learned from the past to create a home for yourself. So really thinking about the home that you grew up in, the homes that you've had with people that you've loved in the past, and now moving forward, what it is that you really want for yourself, for your home. What do you want your home to look like? What do you need out of it? You guys really need to have a safe space with this, and there can be some processing and some like grieving that needs to be done before you can really take action on moving forward. But as you're going through that analysis process, that grieving process, that kind of like looking backwards element, it's really informing you of what you want and what you don't want for yourself and your home that you are creating for yourself. So that's a big focus here. And then on the 15th, so we have also, on the 8th, we also have an eclipse in Taurus happening in your 10th house. So this can be, depending on if this is aspecting you in your chart or not, this can be like a really big culmination of either something that you have had as a career. There's something that's changing here for you that changes the way that other people see you. So your public reputation is something that's going to like come out to the surface around the 8th with this eclipse, to where people are shifting the way that they see you. Possibly you're shifting a career, possibly you're coming out about new priorities, possibly people are starting to see something about you that they hadn't seen before. So at this eclipse season, there is a change, there's a shift, there's a culmination, an ending of something in your 10th house sector, which generally has to do with career, but it also has to do with your public persona and the way that other people perceive you and what your reputation is. So while those things are coming to a close around the 8th, this is going to then, a week from that time, start moving you into 5th house topics, which is Sagittarius. So Mercury moves into Sagittarius the 15th, then Venus on the 17th, and then the Sun on the 22nd, and then on the 23rd, we have a new moon in Sagittarius. So slowly yet surely, we're switching over from thinking about the past and the origin and the family at home, and we're shifting over towards the creative sector. For some of you guys with this heavy Venus influence, for some of you, this can involve creating a home with a loved one that you have right now. For others of you, this shift into the 5th house can look like either focusing on your children more, or it can be focusing on your dating life more, putting yourself out there. There's a possibility to travel to go see a loved one, or the possibility of traveling with a loved one during the second half of this month. There's a new moon, like I said, on the 23rd in Sagittarius. It's well aspected to Jupiter in Pisces, so there's definitely an opportunity to travel around this time. In regards to your sexual and romantic area of life, this is a really good time. The end of the last half of the month is a really good time for you to put yourself out there, because the 5th house has to do with creative self-expression, and Sagittarius here is very well supported by the position of its ruler Jupiter. So it's kind of like a really good time for you to sort of joyfully and freely express your own creativity and your own personality. Okay, so this is going to be very rewarding for you to be creative during the last half of this month, and to really start something new that sort of sets you on fire. Sagittarius is a fire sign, and just sort of gets your creative juices flowing. This can be very life-giving for you towards the end of this month. Okay, Virgo rising. So at the end of last month, we had a new moon in Scorpio, which is your 3rd house. And for the first half of this month, we're definitely going to be dealing with some of the same energy. So if you got, for example, a new car on the new moon last month, you're definitely still focusing on your change in commuting. A lot of you guys might be, like I said, focused on your car for the first part of this month. But another aspect of this is that topics such as your siblings and your relationship with your siblings, especially if you have a sister, this can play a role in you focusing on your relationship with your sister, in reviewing back early childhood memories, and also in just essentially focusing on communicating with people in general. This can be an issue that you are working through, and it seems like you're learning to be more receptive with Venus transiting through your 3rd house. You're also evaluating your reputation and the way that other people perceive you. This is Mars going through your 10th house in retrograde. So there's a bit of an energy of you guys kind of looking back on how it is that you've interacted with people in the past, and how people have then interacted with you and perceived you and looked to you, and what sort of name that you've made for yourself. So this can be a big thing that you're reviewing mentally, that you're thinking a lot about. You may be in your head a lot at the first part of this month, and then towards the second half of the month, so on the 15th, we have a eclipse in Taurus, which is in your 9th house, happening on the 8th. So at that eclipse, we are going to have, it looks like something sudden because it is in conjunction with Uranus. There's something sudden that is potentially happening for you guys if your chart is aspecting this eclipse when it comes to long distance travel or learning things. So some of you guys may be culminating a learning process, or some of you guys may actually be moving, because we're moving into the 4th house territory, which has to do with the home. So some of you guys may be moving across the country, or making a big transition of moving your home somewhere new, traveling somewhere new. And that may be with this eclipse, because at the end of this eclipse in Taurus, which is in your 9th house, then we start to switch into Sagittarius energy. So on the 15th, we have Venus going into Sagittarius. On the 17th, we have, the other way around, Mercury, and on the 15th, Venus on the 17th, the Sun on the 22nd, and then on the 23rd, we have a new moon in Sagittarius. This is your 4th house, so the focus shifts really over from your communication and how other people perceive you to, you're still going to be thinking about what it is that you want to do for work and how it is that you want to change your status, so to speak, in the world. But you're definitely now focused so much more on the home and building the home that you really want. So it's a very aspirational and inspirational time where you may be really, really, really driven to travel, because Sagittarius is the sign of travel. This eclipse in your 9th house of long distance travel, there's a lot of energy that's shifty right now, and it's kind of like pushing you to expand, pushing you to grow, pushing you to experience new things. And this can be a very exciting energy that I would encourage you to use this time, the second half of the month, to explore your options, okay? Because it doesn't look like you may or may not be able to take action on this at this time, but you definitely have the energy happening right here for you to play and explore with your different options. So give yourself that time, give yourself that space to begin to dream. It can be so hard for Virgo rising to allow yourself to dream sort of like with no barriers. So just try to remove mentally the barriers, the limiting beliefs, the I couldn't do this because this and that and the other, and allow your heart to really just like soar and explore what it is that you want moving forward, especially when it comes to traveling, when it comes to the home, when it comes to your status in the world. Spread your wings mentally, so to speak, and explore your options. Hey Libra, what do we have going on for you this month? So it looks like for the first part of this month, you're definitely going to be focused on your finances. And also I do want to encourage you guys to like really get in touch with your own personal power when it comes to your own sexual energy. So the second house, which is Scorpio for you guys, and what we're mainly experiencing for the first part of this month, this has to do with your own finances and also has to do with your own self-worth and your relationship to yourself and to your body. Having Venus here in Scorpio for you guys, there's this huge opportunity for you to not only attract money into your piggy bank, but also to really step into your own personal worth, your own personal power. And then on the 8th, there is an eclipse happening in your 8th house. The 8th house has to do with shared resources, inheritance, tax money, student loans, and anywhere where our money gets entangled and our resources get entangled with somebody else's, there's an eclipse happening here. So there's some major changes happening for you guys in the financial areas of your life for the first part of this month. In the second part of this month, we have on the 15th, Mercury, then the 17th, Venus, and then on the 22nd, the Sun, all moving into Sagittarius, which is your 3rd house. You do have Mars in Gemini in your 9th house moving retrograde. What this tells me together collectively is that the energy is shifting for you guys to feel a little bit more extroverted, and you're really getting ready to learn to be stimulated and inspired by interacting with different people, and also just by exploring the world through the lens of your relationships. So this is a time where you can really like learn a lot just by making new friends. And also there is a new moon happening in Sagittarius on the 23rd that is aspecting Jupiter in Pisces, which is your 6th house of service. So this is the area where you go to essentially devote yourself to the people that you love. And to have this well aspected here, there's a good opportunity for you guys to move or to travel with somebody that you really love or care about. I do want you guys to think about what was happening for you in April earlier this year, because during April we had a similar conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces in your 6th house. So whatever was happening for you around April seems like it's kind of coming back around. This may have to do with something that you do for work as well. It can also be habits that you have with yourself, because the 6th house has to do with health. The 2nd house also can have to do with our body. So your relationship to your body may also be on an exploratory journey during this month. So I would definitely advise you guys to indulge, because it does look like with Venus being a huge part of this month, and also Jupiter being a huge part of this month, this is not a good time to like restrict yourself or try and put boundaries and limitations on yourself. Now is the time to essentially indulge and basically live up the pleasures of life and the pleasures of having a physical body. Like, honestly, you guys, just life is short. So this is the time to indulge the senses, to expand yourself through other people, and also to expand yourself through making financial decisions that make you happy. Hey Scorpio, so first half of the month, everything is going through your first house. We just had a new moon in Scorpio at the end of October, and the first half of this month, the first 15 days, it's kind of going to be a quiet time. It's a really good time to go inward, to focus on yourself, to essentially explore the goddess within, regardless of what your gender is, because Venus is going through your first house. This makes you more attractive to other people, but what's interesting is you don't necessarily seem that interested in engaging with other people, but I will say that a lot of people are drawn to you for especially the first part of this month. On the 8th, we do have an eclipse happening in Taurus, which is your 7th house. It's in conjunction with Uranus, so be prepared for a sudden, sort of like unexpected culmination or event to happen with somebody that you care about. So that's around the 8th, look for that. I do think this can also have to do with your relationship to resources when it comes to other people, just money in general, and a change of your relationship with money. So that can also be a effect. So moving on to Sagittarius. So this is also a reason why I say money, because the second house has to do with self-worth, and it also has to do with money, your own personal finances. So on the 15th, Mercury, 17th, Venus, and the 22nd, the Sun all move from Scorpio to Sagittarius, from your first house to your second house. So the energy shifts, and at this time you can feel a little bit more ready to take initiative on the things that inspire you, the things that you are excited about doing. And a lot of the time, for a lot of you guys, this is going to be about exploration. So I would encourage you to honestly spend money on new experiences for the second half of this month. We do also have a new moon in Sagittarius on the 23rd that is well aspected to Jupiter, and Jupiter will be forming a loose conjunction with Neptune, which also happened around April. So I want you to have a look at what happened to you around April, because that energy does seem to be coming back, and you will be starting something new in this area of your life, which generally I want to say is going to have to do with spending money on yourself in some way, shape, or form that has to do with expanding your knowledge, expanding your horizons, traveling foreign cultures, other languages, anything that really gives you joy through new experiences. So that's what I would have to say for you guys for the month of November. Okay, Sagittarius. Looking at the astrology for you guys this month, I would say you guys might be undergoing the most change of any of the signs. So we start out the month is a little bit quieter. Everything's going through Scorpio, which is your 12th house. It seems like you may be saying goodbye to a lot of things, and you may be just sort of quietly contemplating and reflecting on endings and what the next step is for you. On the 8th, we do have an eclipse, which is happening in Taurus, which is your 6th house of day-to-day work. So there may be a major sudden ending in the sector of your life that can impact essentially your job, and also just majorly disrupt whatever has been your routine up to this point. So then on the 15th, we have Mercury, the 17th is Venus, and then the 22nd we have the Sun, all moving into Sagittarius, which is your first house, the house of self. And it seems like there's some energy that is essentially pushing you to take initiative on these exploratory sort of like dreams and ambitions that you guys have as Sagittarius risings to expand your horizons, there is a lot of energy being focused towards other people because Mars is in retrograde in your 7th house. This has to do with your significant relationships. So what you're really able to do at this time can heavily depend upon what your plans and commitments are to other people. However, there's definitely going to be an energy that you're feeling internally that is pushing you to push way past the boundaries that have held you in up until this point. So there is a new moon happening in Sagittarius on the 23rd that's well aspected to Jupiter, and Jupiter is making a conjunction with Pisces in your 4th house. You guys may really want to move. So yeah, I would say that this is a good new moon for moving. Changing homes. This is going to be really well aspected. So if you are in a situation where you can make those decisions, then do so. If you can't for some reason, prior commitments or otherwise, I do advise you guys to use this exploratory energy in the most creative way that you can think of. Try and learn new information, try and book a vacation for you guys, for yourself, and also maybe try and bring some new energy and some new exciting things into your home. This is really going to sort of help you guys with the stir crazy feelings that you may be experiencing this month. Hey Capricorn, what's the month of November looking like for you guys? So the first part of the month, I would say there's interesting energy because it seems like the energies are pushing you to look ahead and plan for your future, but you're not really feeling it. You're still looking back. It seems like you're still processing things that have happened to you in the past, and you're not exactly feeling freed up or ready, either based on commitments you have to other people or through just things that have happened to you that you don't feel emotionally ready to move on from. So the first part of this month can feel a little bit cathartic, potentially would be the right word, where you are trying to make plans for the future, but you're actually not really finished up with the past. I would encourage you to just breathe and let yourself process whatever it is that you need to be processing. On the 8th, you are going to have an eclipse in your 5th house in conjunction with Uranus and in Taurus. And this can be a sort of like a breath of fresh air for you guys. This is well aspected in your guys' chart. And this can be essentially a pleasant surprise, culmination, success, celebration of something 5th house topic related. So that this has to do with children. This has to do with our creative self-expression. This has to do with our sexuality. And this also has to do with our dating life. So the people that we're romantically involved in or interested in. So this also has to do with like pleasure and play and fun. So I would encourage you guys for the first part of this month to like cut yourself a break and allow yourself that like sort of like unproductive time to just sort of like detox and breathe. And then on the 8th, this will essentially loosen you guys up enough for you to experience whatever this this eclipse in your 5th house is going to bring to you guys, because this could be a number of really awesome things for you. Then after the 8th, so then we're still going to be in Scorpio season up until the 15th, actually until the 22nd, so almost throughout the month. But on the 15th, Mercury moves into Sagittarius. Then on the 17th, Venus moves into Sagittarius. And on the 22nd, the Sun moves into Sagittarius. And then on the 23rd, there's a new moon in Sagittarius. So all of this shifting over into Sagittarius for you guys has to do with your 12th house. The 12th house is where we say goodbye to things, but for you, because the energy here is Sagittarius, this is actually going to be the time where you feel actually ready to move on, where you actually start to feel excited about your life again and feel like you're going somewhere new. you. So while all of this can sort of symbolize like endings for you, it's interesting because these endings and these saying goodbyes of things is really going to feel a lot like new beginnings for you because of Sagittarius here, because of the new moon here. So this is really positive energy for you. This is really exciting energy for you. And this, what I see for you guys is that whatever was causing you sadness at the first part of the month, you are now having the opportunity to look forward and to feel inspired and to feel ready to like make your lives full again. Hey Aquarius, what does the month of November look like for you guys? So the first part of the month, we're in Scorpio season, and there's going to be a big emphasis for you on the creative work that you're doing to make money. It's like you're trying to put yourself out there and the things that you're doing creatively, and trying to establish for yourself a reputation, a certain status when it comes to potentially your career, or if it's not something that you're doing for money, this is still something that's very important to you. This has to do with your life work, and you're pouring a lot of your energy into it, and you're working really, really hard to kind of like go back over in your mind what it is that you need to be doing. And you're just really kind of like funneling a lot of energy into this area of your life. So we do have an eclipse happening on the 8th in Taurus in conjunction with Uranus. For you guys, this is your 4th house. So this can feel really positive, like there's a big change. I'm hearing that it's like a necessary change, an important change that's happening for you when it comes to your home, when it comes to your family of origin, when it comes to your relationship with your mother potentially. These things can undergo a sudden and I would say most likely positive change. So that's something that you have to look forward to on the 8th. Please let me know in the comment box below what happens to you around the 8th, give or take 3 days before, 3 days after. Then what happens after that, moving forward, we do start to move, a week later, we start to move into Sagittarius energy. So on the 15th, we have Mercury moving into Sagittarius. Then on the 17th, it's Venus. And then on the 22nd, it's the Sun. And then on the 23rd, we have a new moon in Sagittarius. This is your 11th house. This has to do with your hopes, dreams, and aspirations for the future. So as the month shifts into this different energy, things can feel like it's time for you to like level up or get a fresh perspective on where you're actually headed. So up until this point, it's kind of like you're focusing on getting to a particular status. Now you're thinking more long term. You're really thinking about what things are going to look like for you down the road, what you actually want them to look like. This may be a really good time for you guys to do a lot of exploration, whether that's mental exploration, creative exploration, definitely creative exploration of some kind with Mars in your 5th house of creativity. Explore, play, expand your horizons, get to know what it is that turns you on, that gets you excited. That's really going to help you set goals for yourself during this last half of the month, which is essentially the focus for you. The other thing that can come up at this time is your social life. So if you are involved with a lot of people, have a big social group, if you're dating a lot at this time, this is also another potential area of focus, because the 5th house, which is where Mars is, also has to do with your dating life, and Sagittarius is your sign for friendship. So there also can be a lot of energy focused on your social life and thinking about who fits into your future and who is really sort of like allowing you to explore and play with the world through your relationships with other people. So that's also another thing that can be a good thing and a productive thing for you to focus on the last half of this month. And finally, Pisces rising. What do we have for you guys in the month of November? Okay, so the first thing that sticks out to me is to point out to you guys that Jupiter has gone from Aries in your 12th house into your 1st house in Pisces. Once again, this happened earlier this year, and then Jupiter went into Aries. Now Jupiter is retrograde, and at the beginning or at the end of last month went into Pisces and is going to be in Pisces, your first sign, up until the 20th of December, where Jupiter is going to go out of Pisces and won't come back into Pisces for another 12 years. So now Pisces is your time to shine, because Jupiter is the great benefic. Jupiter is the one that's going to bless and expand whatever it is that you set your mind to at this time. So you're not going to get this opportunity again for another 12 years. So really take advantage of this personal expansion, this personal growth opportunity. And whatever it is that you feel called to do, now is the time to really do it, to really take the initiative, because the first house is essentially the sense of self, from where we take initiative. So this month is essentially the first full month that Jupiter will be back in Pisces for you guys. And I really encourage you to take advantage of it, especially because of the new moon that's happening at the end of this month. I'll come back to that. Let's start from the beginning of the month. So the beginning of the month, Pisces, we are in Scorpio season, and we do have a eclipse happening in Taurus and your third house. This can be, it's in conjunction with Uranus, so this can be a financial blessing for you guys, with this being Venus's sign. And if it is, this money has to do with something that you didn't specifically do to earn, like for yourself from your own job, because Venus is the ruler of your 8th house. So this is shared resources. So this money can come to you from a partner, from inheritance, from student loan forgiveness, from a loan, from tax returns, any sort of money that is not particularly your paycheck. So that is a possible opportunity that can happen for you guys around the 8th. Other possibilities would have to do with sudden, surprising culminations or fulfillments in the sector of siblings, in the sector of love, in the sector of day-to-day transportation. So some of you guys might be getting a new car. All right, so all that to say, so Scorpio is your 9th house. So there is a lot, especially with Jupiter going through your first house, there's a lot of learning that you guys are doing about yourself for the first part of this month. And it can feel not the most forward moving, because there's a lot of internal work that you're doing for the first part. So it can seem like kind of a quiet month for the first half of the month. Then on the 15th, we move into Sagittarius, starting with Mercury, and then Venus on the 17th moves into Sagittarius, and then on the 22nd, the Sun moves into Sagittarius. On the 23rd, we have a new moon in Sagittarius, and we're Sagittarius for the rest of the month. So what this looks like for you guys is Sagittarius is your 10th house, and Jupiter, which is in your first house, is the ruler of Sagittarius. So the 10th house has to do with your public reputation, your career, the things that you want to be known for, the things that you want to give to the world. And you want to give a lot to the world, because Jupiter is essentially your chart ruler, Pisces. So you are very generous people, you're very spiritually minded people, and you are really focused on giving back to the world towards the second part of this month. So because of this new month, this new moon in Sagittarius, you may be launching something new when it comes to teaching. So some of you may be teaching something. Some of you guys may be putting something out there that is in alignment with who you are on the inside and what your spiritual and intellectual values are. So that's going to be the shift towards the second part of the month. I will let you know, Jupiter is moving into a conjunction with Pisces, and this is going to be well aspected during the new moon. So it is a really good time to start something new that's important to you guys. But also this conjunction happened most tightly earlier this year, which was on April 12th, I want to say. So have a look-see about what was going on for you in the month of April, because this energy may be coming back around to give you another opportunity. Okay, and that's it. Thank you for watching. We will, of course, be doing a new moon and full moon video specifically for each sign also this month. So the eclipse in Taurus, I'll do a whole nother video giving you guys more juicy details about what this eclipse could mean for your sign in particular. So don't forget to turn on your notifications and subscribe to my channel so you can get the juicy updates for the Taurus eclipse, as well as the Sagittarius new moon happening later this month. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.